Inside Access. I'm Joe Soccoa. This is the head coach of the New York Aviator, Mike Stanaway. And Coach, we're in the thick of it now. We got the season rolling. The Elite started, Premier starting this weekend.
Yep.
I want to touch base and start with the Elite team. A few games into the season already. Things have looked good. The record is 1-3, but that's okay. This is a learning process. Just talk a little bit about what you've seen from your Elite players so far.
Well, I mean, where we're at with the Elite team, I think there's a ton of potential there. I mean, that's the difference right now. Is this level for me is refreshing. It's about teaching, it's about development, and that's what we're trying to do with these guys. And if you take a look, we had a great split against the Boston Bandits. The guys really battled hard, and then we go up to New Hampshire and we drop 2 to the Northern Cyclones. But the scores didn't really indicate the game. If you actually look at the game, the first game, we were up 2-1, midway through the second period. In game number 2, I believe we were tied halfway through the game. And, it got away from us, but that's part of the learning process for these guys, is learning, how to compete every single shift. And it's a process. It's going to take time, just to develop certain skills for these guys to be able to advance to that premier level. And, so far so good.
Now, you talk about this experience for you being behind the bench for the Elite, and and you're coaching the Premier team, but you talk about it being a refreshing type of atmosphere for you because you're going back to teaching, you're going back to those fundamentals. Just talk a little bit about how you feel that, it's been a little bit, I guess. I mean, listen, you're always a constant teacher when you're on the ice and you're trying to get these kids developed and move them on in the college programs or whatever the case may be. Just talk a little bit about, for you, your personal feeling on it of being back behind the bench with an Elite team.
Well, it's different, right? I mean, with the Premier, obviously, it's development focused as well. I mean, that's what we're doing here. But there's less of a pressure on winning and losing at the Elite, and it's more about, developing the individual player and maybe less about the wins and the losses. And at the Premier as well, obviously, there's teaching, there's development. That doesn't really go away. But it's more at the Elite level, you're focusing on, individual success, a player, getting to master a certain concept and, and really, helping these guys develop certain skills that is refreshing for these guys when the light bulb finally goes off and they get it. And that's refreshing, as a coach, to be able to do more of the teaching and less on the winning and losing. Obviously that matters as well, but it's more about development and getting these guys ready for the next level. Whereas Premier, it's a little different atmosphere. We're trying to compete for a championship, and we are at that level as well. But it's a little different focus in terms of preparation, in terms of practices, than the Elite level is.
Now, you're talking about the Premier. Premier opens up this weekend against the Philadelphia Hockey Club. This Premier team has some unfinished business. Last year, a successful season. First in the Mid-Atlantic Division, basically almost ran away with it, over 70 points. And Nationals, unfortunately, you didn't get the job done, but that seems to be motivation for at least some of the guys coming back, and then, of course, the new faces in there. Let's talk about this Premier team. This is a team that you have told me, and you've discussed this, and we've talked about this over and over, is probably one of the more deeper teams that you have coached. Just talk about the preparation for the Premier and what to expect for this weekend.
Well, I mean, we haven't played a game yet, a real game, but I will say this, and in the 10, 11 years I've been doing this, and this is not taken away from any of the other great teams that we've had, and we've had some fantastic teams, this may be the deepest team that we've had. I mean, there's a ton of talent, there's a ton of skill. But what I like more about these guys is there's such good personalities in the room. I mean, these guys are very coachable. They do things the right way, and I think this is going to be a team that a lot of college coaches are going to want to pay attention to. This is a very, very high-end team. Like I said, I mean, obviously you have to play the game, but so far what we've seen in practice and what we've done in preseason, these guys have all the tools, and it's a little different feeling around the rink right now. Obviously, not taken away from any of the other great teams that we've had, but this one, there's a bit of a vibe around it.
So you're playing this Philadelphia club. Last season, you beat them 2 out of 3 meetings. Some of those scores, those 2 meetings, a little bit of a wide margin of goals. But you never want to take any of these teams lightly, because you get these teams that come in that might have a down year, but then all of a sudden they come in ready to take the next step and have a big year. Just talk a little bit about the matchup this weekend.
Well, I can certainly tell you this, that Philadelphia Hockey Club is going to be a lot better than they were last year. They've got 2 very, very good defensemen that we have to be aware of. Adam's done a heck of a job with his team, as he does every year. And last year, was getting the organization's feet wet in the league, and this year they've hit the ground running. So they're going to be a tough team. We certainly have to be ready to play, and that's the thing with this division is, no matter how good we think we are, if we don't show up and compete, we're not going to win. But if we show up and take care of our business, compete the right way, and give an honest effort, I think that this team is going to have a nice run here. But it starts this weekend. We're game number 1. We can't set the bar too high till we play some games, and this is a good opportunity for us to play against a good hockey team and see what we're really all about.
All right, so now that we have you on this Inside Access video, typically what we usually do, we do our audio recordings before each game, but now that I have you in front of the camera, I got to ask you, just to get a little bit of a background on the coach himself.
Sure.
Players have their game day routines, everybody kind of sticks to that routine. What is head coach Mike Stanaway's game day routine?
My game day routine is actually, I'm not superstitious in terms of what I do. Like you see a lot of players that they'll eat the same meal, they'll get dressed a certain way. I really don't do anything like that. For me, we put so much into it during the week in terms of practice preparation, in terms of, just evaluating so many different things with our team, that game day for me is easy. Generally if we play a 7:30 game, I go out with the family for breakfast. I'll play with the kids during the day. It's really a relaxing day for me. I like to get to the rink a little bit early just to make sure we have our lineup done, everything like that. But as far as actual game day, all the preparation is done ahead of time for what we need to do. We have our game plan set, and provided there's no last minute adjustments that we need to make, I'm usually, during the day playing with the kids and having some fun.
Coach, it's always good to speak to you. Aviator Premier Team plays the Philadelphia Hockey Club this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, right here at the Aviator, so come and watch us.